All right. Hey guys, welcome to our pregnancy update for week 36. She is starting to drop, so I can now breathe full deep breaths, which is lovely. And also I can eat full meals. So she's not affecting my stomach location or anything. So that is pretty cool, because I'm now super hungry, like ravenous, constantly. I can eat on the hour if I allow myself. So I'm not, but I am just sort of munching and having a lot of fruit and protein and veggies, and I like nuts and berries and stuff. So I'm trying to graze, because I mean I could eat probably 3 burgers a day if I let myself, which I'm not. She is moving around and I do have to pee constantly. So obviously her moving down further is hitting the bladder, which is not so pleasant, as far as I now have to pee super frequently, which wasn't as much of an issue during the second trimester because she was higher up. The nursery is underway, so I will have to insert a picture. It is not done and nothing is put together, but it is farther along than it was before. So I'm taking that victory without a question. So we had our first full week of students at school, which is nice, but it is stressful, obviously. Also, our AC is not regulated. So some rooms the AC is working wonderfully, some rooms it's not working at all, some rooms it's okay at the beginning of the day and not functioning at all by the end. And so that's, I think, kind of problematic. Pretty sure that it was going to be daily subs in my room when I went out on maternity leave, or I just wasn't sure how it was going to work. And wonderfully, they found a replacement, and she is getting to shadow/work with me from the beginning until we go out. So we got to meet the students together and introduce ourselves as co-teachers, and so that's really cool and very nice, and that's going to be great for the kids as far as consistency, because we're starting out together, and then it's going to be just her for a little while, and then I'll return. And I'm not sure if the class size is going to get large enough if they would let us continue to be together. I mean, the class size would have to increase by at least 5 kids each of the classes, but that's absolutely a possibility. You just don't know as far as influx of students. Okay, so other symptoms: dry skin on the top of my hands. I usually don't experience that until winter time, and then I will, for some reason, on the top of my hands get dry skin. I definitely cannot bend over easily at all. I got so swollen this week, so week 36, going back to work, being in the heat. I took off my wedding band because I was afraid that for a couple days it was looking really close, I might not be getting this thing off. So when I was able to, I took it off. Had 2 appointments. I can insert pictures also of my hand, my finger right when I took off the ring, because you just it's funny. And then my ankles, I no longer have ankle bones. My legs are swollen. My skin feels tight, so I've been moisturizing because the swelling is just, taking up more space. I did have 2 appointments this week. So I had my final ultrasound, and I had the first in my weekly OB appointments from here on in. So let's start with that. So at the weekly OB appointment, it was the usual stuff, but this time they did a strep test, which is where they check to see if you have a certain bacteria or virus or something that apparently is harmless to us and we don't even know we have it, but it could harm the baby when they arrive. So they check you for it, and then they can give you antibiotics intravenously through the birth process, and that way the baby is protected. So I'll get that result next week. I have no idea if I have it or not. Also, the first dilation check, which of course I Googled, which was the stupidest thing I could ever do. It's looking up the side effects of a medicine. I don't really want to know what they are. The side effects of, you know what I mean? I know there can be some terrible things, but if you read those, you would never take anything. We wouldn't even take Advil, Anyways, So I looked it up, and of course I was horrified, and I went to my appointment, and I was super anxious, and I know that we can like opt out of certain things, and I was debating it, like, should I just say I don't want the dilation check? Because when you read about it and when you know people, it's true that it doesn't really matter how dilated you are. That's not necessarily an indication of whether or not you're going into labor soon or not soon. I mean, it's, I guess, nice to know if you're dilating, but it's not necessarily going to help determine when you're giving birth. So anyways, so I was nervous, and then I was like, you know what? I've never had it. I'm sure many people have had it, and it's just fine. It seems like a routine thing, whatever. So it was super uncomfortable, but it was absolutely fine. It was not painful. It was just uncomfortable. And I learned that my cervix is tilted back, posterior, and it's far back, which I think made it more uncomfortable. So awesome, delightful. Anyways, my cervix is softening. I'm not dilated at all yet, but everything looked fine. So that appointment was done fine. And she said it will probably get more uncomfortable as we get closer to birth. Awesome. But I'm going to be giving birth, which is going to be more uncomfortable than all of this. So I suppose we'll survive. Okay, then the ultrasound. Okay, brace yourselves. So ultrasound, good news as far as her hair is still growing. Don't know what color it is, but it's growing. Chubby cheeks like a chipmunk. So cute. She's 6 pounds, 2 ounces, according to their estimation, which is well within normal range, because I was nervous at the other one. I feel like they said she was towards the larger side, but now it looks as though it's kind of evened out and she's not. I was just worried about her being super huge because, you know, the birth process is surely more difficult with a larger baby. I don't know. Anyways, but everything's fine. Then, so I am the worst. This woman, the ultrasound tech, obviously has an amazing poker face, because she got the doctor to come in and she was like looking at something and I couldn't figure out what it was, but it's an ultrasound and it's my baby, so I'm just looking at the screen and smiling because, like, so excited. Turns out that I believe it's my upper right portion of the placenta has detached from the cervix. Another thing you should not look up online. I did that. Stupid idea. Anyways, it's partially detached. So she asked me if I had been experiencing any bleeding or any, like if I felt like I was leaking any of the amniotic fluid or whatever from the placenta. I don't have any of those symptoms. I do have, you know, like I had that rib issue, and I do experience like discomfort in the upper right portion of my rib, stomach, whatever area under my bust. But it's nothing extreme and there's nothing coming out, and she's moving just fine. So apparently I need to be on the watch because despite what you see in movies, only 15% of women's water breaks before they go into labor or whatever. So anyways, there's a chance that mine will, or it's like slightly more likely because of this. So this can be super harmful. Again, don't look it up online. If it entirely detaches. For the baby and for me, super deadly. Awesome. Great. But if not, it just could be like a weird thing. So apparently, it has detached and it is on her arm. Now they don't know if it's, because from the ultrasound it's just hard to determine with her movement and such, if it's like stuck to her arm or if it's just at her arm. But if it's stuck to her arm, when she comes out, they're going to have to cut around it and leave that little piece there and let it like dry up and flake away, you know, harmlessly. Because apparently if they are to try to take it, like peel it off, it could hurt her skin. So I'm hoping the doctors know that. Depending on how lucid I am during labor, I'll be sure to mention, by the way, if there's something stuck to her arm. I'm assuming they know, but I have no idea. Anyways, okay, so that, of course, frightened me because I'm super swollen now, and I'm already nervous because obviously you're giving birth. I mean, I've never given birth before, so I'm super nervous. But even if I had, I know that from talking to people, each birth and pregnancy can be so different from one to the next that it just keeps you nervous no matter what. Anyways, so of course I'm super nervous. Everything's okay. They didn't put me on bed rest. They didn't admit me to the hospital. They didn't do anything. So I'm going to assume the doctors know what they're doing and that everything's going to be fine. But we are winding down week 36 and I'm swollen and I'm tired and I am hungry and I've cried a couple times. Sweet Jesus. But anyways, everything is fine. That is spooking me. So if you are pregnant or going to be pregnant and you're spooked by like Googling things, do not Google that. The placenta cervix separation thing. Because I did and I should not have because it made me cry. But again, everything is fine. I feel fine. She's moving around just fine. I'm eating. Everything is working fine. So hopefully that's just a bit of a fluke. So she said it was relatively harmless and relatively unusual, this little separation thing. And I told my sister, and she said, oh, just like you. That's two things we would use to describe you. Relatively harmless and relatively unusual. And I was like, thank you. Anyways, so all is well, just a little bit of nervousness, but I'm trying to chill because this is the end of week 36. We got 3 weeks left. Everything looks good. I feel fine, aside from just being tired and hungry and a little bit grumpy. So let's just see how this keeps going. So thank you guys so much for continuing on this journey, and I will keep you updated. And take care. Thank you.